Okay, it looks like 6:30. We're going to open up with a public hearing, obtain views on introduced ordinance number 2022-05, an ordinance establishing access management to maintain traffic control. Is there any questions or any public comment on this? This is the one where going forward, it's, everybody that currently has a business is grandfathered in, but as new businesses come in, they have to be able to establish an access management to neighboring properties as they're being developed. And what this does, it'll ease up any of, on Miller, as those things are developed going forward, ability to move between businesses without having to get on the main road and create a traffic hazard. So, if anybody has anything to say, please come up and, we'll welcome your comments. If not, we'll go to the next one. Obtain views on introduced ordinance number 2022-06, an ordinance amending the fiscal year 2021-22 budget for the town of Ioway. This is the, from the results of our external auditors that just completing or in the process of completing the prior budget. I think there was some revenue we were short on one of the funds, and it's of course detailed in the documentation, kind of spells it out in detail. And of course we'll go over that as we actually go to accept it. So anybody have anything to say on that? Please step forward. The next one is obtain views on introduced ordinance number 2022-07, an ordinance amending the code of ordinances for the town of Ioway, including nuisance abatement. This is the one we talked about related to the business that we had on the massage parlor and all the potential issues, which it's been resolved, but this is the ordinance that we try to put in going forward so that we would have an ability to control and properly address those type of issues. And Mr. Bouquet, you're comfortable with everything?
Yes, I was. Yes, I am.
And this is the ones that we would have to go to district court if we do. It wouldn't go through our normal process. It would.
That's correct. It's not an easy process, but it's one that will stand up.
Okay. Anybody have anything they'd like to comment on that? If not, then at 6:32, I close the public hearing. Call to order the town of Ioway's regular meeting of the City Hall meeting, November 14th, 2022. A quorum is established and everybody's present. I'd like to ask everybody to stand and ask Joe to give us the invocation.
Please bow your heads. Lord, we are meeting today to conduct matters of business. Guide our hearts and our minds in the spirit of fairness, right thought, and speech. Impart your supreme wisdom upon our activities so that our affairs may reach a successful conclusion. Thank you for being our source of guidance today. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. The first order of business, I'd like to ask that the council consider amending the agenda for two items that did not make them. There are officer crooks, some condemnations that did not get put on here that should have been put on here. And then the other is a motion to add to the agenda a payment for Jeff Cudla, approving payment number 1 to K&J Development.
I move to add both items.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, then the next item is to adopt the agenda as amended.
I move to adopt the agenda as amended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The next item is approval of minutes as presented for the regular meeting, October 10th, 2022.
I'll make that motion to accept the minutes as presented on October the 10th, 2022.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, I'm gonna move just real slightly around a little bit. The first one is I'm going to allow Mr. Officer Crooks to give the condemnations if the people here that may want to respond on that. So,
Is there anybody here for 414 South Sherman? All right, so we have 414 South Sherman. Last year, it belongs to the Highway Tesla Properties, Mr. Augustine's company. Last year, it was voted to have it inspected. The inspection came back that they recommended it be demolished. It wasn't cost prohibitive. It's been on hold for a little while because Mr. Augustine was in bad health and his son asked to take over the proceedings, but he hasn't contacted me to move forward, so we're gonna start presenting some of the properties here each month to move along. We never voted to actually condemn it. It got inspected, so the next step now would be to make a decision if y'all wanna go forward with condemnation.
So that the inspector went ahead and said it wasn't
Yeah, I have the
cost
paperwork
effective.
here, 6/3 of 21. He did inspection. There's a checklist of all the deteriorations and the deficiencies here, and it says that it's not,
Cost
he
effective.
recommends that it be demolished
Okay.
based off of the cost from what he's inspected.
and then you're not aware of anything that they've done in between that time to address any of them at this point?
No, I watched the property. They started cutting the grass recently, but I haven't seen any work being done or anything
Okay.
like that.
There was somebody going in there and I don't know what they were doing inside, but it couldn't have been much.
So you just need a motion from us?
Yeah, well, see, the inspector, his recommendation is based off of just seeing the deterioration from the outside. He hasn't inspected the support system inside or nothing like that, so inside could be even worse. I'm not really sure. He would have to get cooperation from the owner to
Did
let
he
him in.
get, that's all that his written report is, that one sheet, that,
Yeah, this is his inspection report that he sends to us.
okay. Okay. And I would prefer that he just say that it says that should be considered for condemnation, is what I'd like him to say.
Okay. Do you wanna look at this real quick so you can see what?
I'm sorry, I changed coats, but so it's when I don't have my glasses with me.
You want mine? Hey, I got some for you. Here, try these.
All right, try this.
I'm sorry, I know, I think mine's pretty
I was
strong.
walking outside
I think you've used
before
them before,
and
yeah.
I changed coats and I don't have my glasses.
Yeah, no, I think you've used mine before. They were pretty close. It was, I guess after you get a certain age, your eyes all kind of.
Recommendation for demolition, it's appropriate.
Okay,
Uh,
so what's the next action we need to take on this then?
Well, I don't know, did they know, I know we sent different numbers of notices trying to work them. I think that what we should do is we should take action upon the recommendation of the inspector to proceed with condemnation, and then we need to set a date for condemnation hearing, set it at the next meeting, and make sure that we send the appropriate notice to the property owner that it's coming up for condemnation.
So then, I
That would
guess,
be like the step, that's.
so the step we need to take now is the council needs to
Make a motion.
make a motion to
Proceed on the
condemn.
recommendation of the inspector to condemn.
Okay, upon the recommendation.
So moved for 414 South Sherman.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And then the date that we'll set is give notice for the next,
Just set it and have it set as for a condemnation hearing and make appropriate notices to the property owner.
so then the condemnation hearing will be held at the next,
And that's whenever y'all propose it, but I
Yeah.
suggest make it.
that's a good one. We'll go with that at this point. Is the next meeting, December, what is it gonna be, 12th or 14th?
December.
December 12th, then we'll have the condemnation hearing. Now, do we have that like as a public hearing before the regular meeting?
Well,
Is
you
that-
have the hearing that he comes before y'all, so he
They
can
have
happen
a
during the
chance to
meeting.
come, this is the official hearing. You say it for hearing, you're gonna get a notice that it's coming up for condemnation on the recommendation of the inspector, and then they can
Okay.
appear and they say whatever statements they want to say.
Yeah, but we'll-
At that time, you make your decision.
But we do it like a public hearing, like we do the ordinance, okay?
Well, you can.
It can be, or it could be
Or
an
it can be-
agenda item.
It
Just
can
put
be
it-
an agenda
Just put
item.
it agenda item.
Okay, all right, then the next
That's
item,
another step of notification to protect yourself.
you can use it, I can
You're
read
okay.
somewhat, yeah, if you, okay, the next item, go ahead.
The next item is 502 Railroad Avenue. 4 months ago, Mr. Miller came in here to speak about 502. Y'all had previously voted to condemn the 2 buildings, but he came in for the hearing and y'all gave him an extra 2 months. It's now been 4 months before I brought it back to you.
Okay,
500 looks to be almost completely demolished, but the trash from the house is still there. The house is demolished, but it's on the.
yeah, so that's basically just a normal ordinance inspection
Yeah, now,
part, so.
I mean, we can shift that one over to a junk storage and, it started
Yes.
a case for him to clean up.
That's good. Let's do that then.
But with 502, he had said that he was gonna demolish 500 and use the supplies to repair 502. But I can't,
Okay,
Nothing, looks like
I've not
nothing's
seen
been done.
anything that's-
so do we,
500 is the one that he's working on?
500 is the ones that down.
He took it.
502 is the one that he currently stays in.
so for our purposes, then we just need to do the same thing on the condemnation, do a condemnation hearing and give him an opportunity to come in on the December the
Well,
12th?
The last meeting was that.
Oh, okay.
The last meeting was the official condemnation, and y'all extended it 2 more months. And so,
When
Do
you
we
extend it
start-
like that, do you have to start the process
I
over?
don't know that you have to start the process over, but I think we want to be as cautious as we can
Okay,
for a number of reasons. Do we have a report from an inspector, or is it just an obvious?
you can see some walls are caved in, some of the
We have
roof panels
pictures?
are leaning. Yes.
Okay.
I can get it inspected. We have if we set the official hearing again for next month, that gives me a full 30 days to get the new inspection done.
do you want to go ahead and do that, Mr. Bouquet, just to be safe?
That's good.
Okay, let's go ahead and set up an inspection, a formal inspection, and then we'll go through the process using that as our basis for being able to condemn it and have it taken down.
We need a motion, like a formal thing for that?
No,
I don't think so.
Not to do an inspection.
We'll just make notice, and of course, 500 is now that transfers from the condemnation process to just an ordinance enforcement process that, he'll go through and make sure that if they don't clean it up, that we'll hire somebody to go in and clean up after following through our normal processes, which is, a certified letter and all of that stuff. So, all right, well, I appreciate everything. You got anything else you want to add, or anybody got any questions as far as?
Like I said, the other Iowa Tesla properties, I'm gonna start giving y'all a couple each month to try and catch up on those. And if y'all have any questions before I go.
Well, as far as any questions, as far as ordinance, anybody got any questions, on that aspect also, because he's been pretty aggressive here trying to get caught up on a lot of stuff on ordinance, grass cutting and, those type of things. I think you should see quite an improvement, at least I've noticed, in case there's an area near one of you that may need some addressing. I do have one that was brought up by a constituent back here in Vanessa's area where the trailer burnt down. We want to get that cleaned up. I want to get them to clean that out and cut that grass and stuff, because I do know that is an issue that some of them around it have significant issues with now. We were trying to get the trailer done, but now with the fire, they need to get on that and get it cleaned up fairly quick, or we need to take whatever action we need to do on that.
Brandon, would you prefer us to send a photo with the address so you'll know exactly which properties we're talking about? And check and see if they've already been brought up.
Y'all can send me addresses anytime y'all want. I'm fairly familiar with the town. I've been patrolling for 8 years, so.
Now, you are keeping up though with Pat on all that stuff, so we can put it on our website, not names, but just addresses, so that it gives an opportunity so that people can look at it and say, oh yeah, it's in the pipeline, so they don't have to say, well, where is it? You can look online and see that. I think Pat has been working with him. They're trying to make sure we have that worked out on our,
Yeah, every couple of weeks or so, I send Pat an updated list of what's active, what's been taken care of.
yeah. And Pat, you are getting those on, or we're trying to get those on?
We're working on it.
Okay, I just want to make sure that we get it.
Get you a new list and date.
Okay. Anybody have any other questions? If not, anybody in the audience want to make any comments or anything related to this activity, or any suggestions or anything like that? If not, thank you much.
Thank you.
All right.
All right. The next item I'm moving up is the Executive Director for Calcasieu Council on Aging. You know, there's a couple of things that come on. We agreed for some money for some specific issues, and it come to find out it creates some difficulty for the Council on Aging because of the parameters they used. And I just wanted to get their assurance that the things that we listed, they kind of informed me that they do have the access to do that. So they want to ask us to put the 12,000 against the rent because it allows them, and I'll let you kind of explain it, allows them to get credit on some of the national agencies and things like that, so.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jacqueline Green. I'm the Executive Director for the Calcasieu Council on Aging, and it is a pleasure to be before you here this evening. You were provided with a little packet of information. It kind of talks about who we are as the Council on Aging and what we have here in Calcasieu Parish. And the second page is a senior center in-kind sheet that tells you what the other cities and towns in our great parish do for the 7 senior centers that we have throughout Calcasieu Parish. I have a few notes because I can't remember like I used to. But we've always had a nice senior center here in Iowa. We were in the VFW Factory Outlet Mall for several years. We had the side that was closed off. Our seniors were just having a ball running around over there, and we had a room there, and that was our senior center, probably from about 2013 until about 2021, when we opened at 120 East First Avenue here. When Rosalind was working, Rosalind Berry is my administrative director, and Mr. Eric Johnson is my board member from the Iowa area. When we opened that facility, we are renting it from Miss Gina Miller with Miller and Associates, and we thought, oh, this is going to be perfect, it's going to be fine. I stand before you to tell you we are bursting at the seams in there. If you've gone by there, you will see that we have outgrown that facility. They're having anywhere from 40 to 50 seniors a day, from drinking coffee just to watch TV, to read the newspaper, to crocheting, to birthday luncheons, to socialization with their peers that they've been living here in Iowa with for their entire lives. Those 2 ladies who run that senior center for us, Miss Colleen Johnson and Miss Barbara Fondon, also are prepared and equipped to provide those seniors with programs, resources, and services that the Council on Aging provides should they need assistance. And for those seniors who do not attend the center, those friends and church members who do can guide their friends, church members, and neighbors to us for assistance when they need us. Historically, we were getting $4,000 for the reimbursement of wages for our 2 ladies that work at the center in the past. And then in 2021, we were grateful enough for you all to give us $12,100 towards the rent. If you will look at the senior center in-kind sheet, we get from the state $199,093. which does not hardly cover 7 senior centers in Calcasieu Parish. If it was not for the dedicated support that you see on this sheet, we would surely have to close our doors or have our seniors only open 2, maybe 3 days a week, whatever we could afford. So we are grateful whatever we are blessed with from our towns and cities here in Calcasieu Parish. What we're working on is building a new senior center here in Iowa. We also were at the police jury building, the community center on Highway 90, and that was working out pretty good, but we can't, because they rent it out, we can't leave our things out. So it was really difficult to pick up everything that we're doing at the end of every week and trying to lock it up so they could rent the facility out. So we need our own building here in Iowa. This is the only part of the parish where we do not have our own facility, and it will be a huge blessing to the Council on Aging as well as the continuing years and years of senior citizens that are going to flow through this community. The property that we're looking at, that Mr. Eric has been negotiating with, is on the corner of Highway 90 and Storer. It is right across the street from the little Walmart neighborhood market, H-E-B Pantry Market there. And we had it appraised by Lake Area Appraisal, the property appraised for $57,000. The gentleman's name is Mr. Darrell Ritchie, and he is willing to sell the property to us. Senator Mark Abraham and State Representative Troy Romero have given us $50,000 towards a new senior center in Iowa. And Mr. Lee Mallett has pledged to donate the entire building to us, the cement slab as well as the metal building and the roof, everything that goes with that building. We would be charged then with the interior work, the electrical and the plumbing, which I plan to talk to Mr. Natale, also with Senator Jeremy Stein and a few other contractors from this area who I will be asking to in-kind their labor as well as some of these supplies to us to get this senior center built. We need the support of paying the rent. Especially right now while we're still in a rented facility. The state does not like us to have to pay rent for any of our senior centers. So the municipalities to pay that for us, we don't have to pay it at any of the other buildings because they are owned by the cities and towns that they're in the parish, and we just operate those buildings. So this is the only one where we're currently paying a rent right now. So the $12,000 that you're giving us goes strictly towards us paying that rent, and I am asking that you please leave it there. The additional items that those ladies talked about that they need at their facility, Council on Aging is very capable of purchasing those items. We just think there was just a little confusion in the talks, and so we can buy anything that they need. They actually don't have much room for anything else right now, but we can purchase whatever they need. All of our senior centers, they took in about $140,000 worth of contributions last fiscal year. That money goes directly back into those senior centers. Whatever they pick up, they take back. We don't need it, we don't want it, we don't use it for administrative purposes, we don't use it for payroll. It goes back to whatever those seniors need at their senior center. And so they are doing a phenomenal job at increasing the level of participation here at the Iowa Senior Center, and we are very, very pleased. And I wanted to give you just a little bit more information about the other services that we're doing currently in Iowa. So for Meals on Wheels, we're serving about 14,000 Meals on Wheels a year just here in Iowa to about 145 clients. The Senior Center is doing about 4,162 visits every 3 months. That is a lot of seniors going through those doors every single day. And there's about 70 to 75 clients who are visiting the Senior Center, unduplicated clients. So it's about 75 different people in the community who are going to the Senior Center every day. We are very, very, very proud. We also are providing transportation to about 62 residents in Iowa, with 47 of those being dialysis patients 3 times a week. So we have a lot of services that we provide through Council on Aging. We cover this parish in its entirety, from Bell City, Hayes, Starks, Vinton, Toomey. If it's in this parish or a little bit out of this parish, we are there for whatever the service is that they need. So tonight, we are asking you to consider several things. Number one, we would love for you to keep the rent, the $12,000 going towards the rent. The $4,000 goes towards helping us pay the two amazing ladies who are there. Next year, when we get all of the red tape taken care of to build our new facility, we would ask you to consider us again, that if there's anything extra that you may want to contribute to us to help us get your senior center up and going. Again, many of the municipalities, the centers belong to them. We just come in and run it. Make sure your seniors have every program that they need. Make sure the staff belongs to us, because they have to adhere to federal and state guidelines for older Americans, older adults. We train them and make sure that they understand what they do with those seniors. And lastly, just remember that it is the holidays, and we will be hosting events for the seniors. This Saturday, we will be giving out 400 Thanksgiving baskets with Phillips 66. In December, we'll be doing 400 Thanksgiving baskets with Westlake Chemical. And we come into your community to make sure the homebound are not left isolated and alone during this time of the year. So I charge everyone, think about your church members, your school teachers, your neighbors, your aunts, your uncles who you don't see anymore, they're not driving anymore. During this time of the year, it is imperative that you check on them. And if there is someone who you know that is declining in health, give us a call. We will definitely get out and help them and try to help them age in place with dignity and pride, as long as it is their choice and it is feasible for that person.
Fantastic. Well, Trudy, thank you for kind of giving clarification, and there was a bunch of miscommunication.
Yes.
I guess the first thing I'd like to ask the council to do is allow us or authorize us to amend the COA for the $12,000 to go to rent. With the understanding that if you need money for making longer trips, I do know that that's a little cost. If they would just bring that to us, we would look at even, $3,000 or $4,000 if you needed it, to be able to give our senior citizens into a bus and go to Natchitoches or something like that. Because I think that was where they were really looking to go forward, and they didn't have.
They're planning it now.
Okay, but I mean, if you run into problems, bring that. But as long
Yes,
as,
sir.
right now, I think I request a motion to amend the
It's already
CO
paid for. I was gonna say the trip's paid for. And it's gonna change, guys. So when we build the new facility, we may not need the $12,000 for rent, but depending on what happens, I'll come back and we can talk about it, and I'll keep you guys updated on what's going on.
Going forward, because I think
Yes.
this is something that we can budget for every year. It's not a problem.
Thank you.
It looks like we've been able to, so I guess
We passed a motion already.
we passed it to sign the COA for the $12,000, but for specific items.
Right, what
I
are we
want
gonna
to,
do, cancel that?
yeah, well, cancel or modify it that it can all go to rent.
Now, what is the association locally gonna say about this?
Oh, we talked with them, and they've been in talk, because my understanding originally was they didn't know that they could get this stuff through through their current
Anything they
process.
need.
They didn't understand that they could do
Anything they
that.
need, anything they need.
And so that's where I'm saying that they were under the misconception that they couldn't get it. And, this is why I wanted them to come up and give assurances that they can get those items, the television if they needed it.
Oh, God, yes.
The travel, this one we talked about right here, the travel to Natchitoches, where they have to rent a bus for a full day trip. I guess she was uninformed that they had funds to do this. What the issue is like they were saying, the reimbursement for rent is where it becomes a difficult for the CCNOA, and we've agreed to give them $12,000, and as long as they're getting these other items, I think it's just appropriate to let them use it for this, for all their documentation purposes to meet for the
Yes, sir.
state.
Plus the 4 for the salaries.
Well,
Yes,
yeah,
ma'am.
that is a separate
Okay.
COA that
Is
we've
it?
gotten a long term that's in process already.
Okay.
So I'm asking that we adjust that COA for 12,000, instead of the whole list of items, that we, have the COA to allow them to use this for reimbursement from rent, just so it's a modification of that COA.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And like I say, if there's anything like that, you know, just bring it forward. You know, we want to help our senior citizens
Yes,
because
sir.
we recognize that they are a large percentage of our constituents.
Yes,
And we
sir.
definitely want to help them any way we can. It's just sometimes if it's not brought up, we're not aware and we want to be aware.
And I tell everybody, we're all going to age. It absolutely cannot be reversed. And as we age, we're going to lose the capability just to do the basic everyday things that we love to do. And those senior centers are an outlet to keep us aging well, to keep them aging well. So thank you so very much. The mayor has my cell number. Please call me if you think of something after the meeting or if you have a question or a comment. I am an open door. Please call me. I'll be more than happy to take your call.
I understand they've done pretty good at our park, garage sale, and
Yes.
I think we're going to try to set up maybe to assist the CCOA in the spring in addition to the Lions Club, kind of like a joint
Yes, sir.
put through, to have another one of those to help fund them in the
Yes,
park
sir.
in either April or May.
April or
We're
May.
working to finalize that date for an opportunity to
Yes, sir.
help them
And
also.
we'll be here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is Jeff Cudla, and I don't think he's made it, so we'll go ahead and go over the items. Upon the recommendation of Jeff Cudla, architect, motion to approve invoice number 5198, the final invoice for retainage from Efficient Air Systems in the amount of $9,800 for the HVAC project, which is the one we're using here.
So moved.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The next one is upon the recommendation of Jeff Cudla, architect, motion to approve payment number 8 from K&J Development in the amount of $23,310.72 for replacement of the public storage and break room building project. And of course, this is the one we're still working on, I guess, with the lawyers on trying, you know, it should be, we should maybe get part of it back through that process.
Yes.
So moved.
All in
Second.
favor?
Second.
Yes, we got second.
Second.
Yeah. Okay, the next item is need a motion to, this is what we added to the agenda. A motion to approve payment number 1 to K&J Development in the amount of $257,323.65. This is on our new ball field that they've been working on.
I make a motion to pay that payment number 1.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You opposed? All right. And the next item, I guess, is Walt. You want to kind of come up and give us an update on everything?
I think Ms. Green did an excellent job with her talking about this. We're all getting older. We have received bids on the asphalt overlay of Sherman Avenue from Highway 90 north to Dead End. We had 3 bidders, and we had a really good bid from RE Height Construction, and it's our recommendation that RE Height Construction be awarded this contract in the amount of $227,136.50.
Motion to
I'll
accept
make
it.
a motion, we accept that bid from RE Height.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and I guess as part of that is the approval, I mean, do we need approvals for me to sign this thing, or is this?
I believe that is in the way it's written, or in it to, and authorize Mayor Hess to execute contract for
Okay.
said project.
It's all part of it, okay. I got a question for you. We thought that this was gonna be almost 400,000, so we took out First Street.
We took out First and West Alley because we thought it was going to be over 500.
Yeah,
And actually, looking at the bids, my estimate on this particular project was the high bidder. So,
yeah.
so
Well, no, the reason I'm saying is, with this being as low as it is, maybe if y'all are all right to go ahead and start moving forward on the, as a separate project on the First Street and the alley.
we surely can.
Let's go ahead and do it, because we were thinking at the time that it was gonna be,
Well, it'll be, how much, I guess the question is how much,
well,
We
we budgeted $500,000 for streets
three.
for the,
Three, right? For all 3 of them?
Well, that's what I say for this one and the other ones, it's what we budgeted for the current year was, we budgeted 500.
So
And
this
so
basically
we're
is
going to
taking-
be pushing it, but that's,
Now, this is taking half of that fund right now, so.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So if you figure the other one's just about, about, going to be about the same type of effort because of the streets and
It's a little
stuff.
different effort because it's, Sherman's a reconstruction of the base. First Avenue is an overlay, which should be a little bit
Means be
safer.
cheaper, should be less.
Should be. It's a
Yeah.
longer segment though,
But
but
I'm saying, let's go ahead and get the bid out and look at it and see what we can do. I think,
what I can do is let me first look at using this as a guide for the numbers. Let me get an estimate together and I'll relate that to you. And if it's within your funds available, because we have to have the funds available before we can advertise.
yeah, no, I'm just saying that it seems like it's something that we got some others that we can move backwards and forth on, but I just wanted to make sure that, the reason we put that off is we thought it was going to go way over the 500,000 and,
And that was probably still a pretty true statement. But let me look at the budget with this fresh information and, but I'll be happy to because we already had the plans prepared. So
yeah, no, I know. And
it's-
the thing is, if we wait too long, you'll have to redo some of that and, it's like we at least got good information now.
I'll verify the budget.
Okay?
Okay. Next item of business is passing a resolution, I guess y'all have that in front of y'all.
Yes.
Regarding the trust fund for the South Store drainage improvements, which is, by the way, Store Street she was talking about putting the new Council on Aging building out, that lot they were looking at. And because we had to turn in the application on the 1st of November, this is basically kind of approving
Yeah.
the promise that we qualify for this trust fund.
If we weren't pushed on I thought we had longer to be able to do it, and with that deadline for us to even get into it, I made a decision to be able to go to the worst potential issue, and the worst issue was drainage, and we're tying into a main drainage line, I think, is that
That's correct,
basically-
Third Avenue is the main artery.
main drainage line, and what we're going to do is we're going to start tying in the roads on both sides as we move forward throughout both sides of the town that goes all the way over to Fairview, all the way back to this side of town. So we're picking this one as an initial one. The next one will be farther down, around toward Sherman and that kind of thing. But we just wanted to be able to lock in that $100,000, right now, so that we're not pushing it off to another year. And then something happens, we wouldn't get it at all anyway. So, I do apologize. Normally I try to get this in front of you before. In this case, it was after, just so that we could lock in that 100,000. And this would be putting in the drainage and covering it just like over here at Lightner and all of them. It will be a closed system. And so that's starting on that, and it's on Store from 90 to 3rd
Right.
on both sides.
Well, just
And
on
then,
the east side, just on the east side initially, because the estimate today is $276,000 for that work.
Okay.
So it's pretty expensive,
Yeah, oh yeah.
But it's permanent, basically, and it's first class, so.
And that's what we need to do, is we're working each year, take some of this, and at some point in the future, it'll all be closed off. And
That's how we actually got the Third Street system in, was trust fund money, and we did like a block of time. We just, over the decades, we were able to successfully get it done.
So I guess a motion to approve the resolution number 2022-24, resolution requesting assistance.
I
I
made
move to
that,
approve resolution number 2022-24.
Second.
All in favor?
aye.
Any opposed? All right.
Just real briefly, the wastewater pond project, we issued the notice to proceed, and they've actually started mobilizing, and we have a coordination meeting tomorrow morning here at City Hall at 10 o'clock to get everybody on the same page, and so their materials are arriving, and we're on our way now. It's been 2 years, but we're on our way, so.
And of course, the good part about that, I want to bring you up, I had a meeting with the Jeff Davis, I guess, board that handles the Lacassine. They invited me over to a meeting with, the all the players and that. And one of the things they're interested in, this was something that Marion Fox Butch kind of got with us, as to whether we could, charge them for accepting some of the sewers they tie into our sewer line. And one of the things is, before we do any of that, I want wanted them to get in touch with Walt to say, hey, what are you looking at? What can we handle? What is our long-term, what can we accept? And then if we can, at that point, then we would, at some point, maybe go into negotiations about pricing to help offset some of our costs too. And so, this is not, this is very, very preliminary. And they're trying to build things into that Lacassine Park that will benefit us in the long term too, because they'll have jobs and things like that. But I did want to make sure you were aware of it, that we are, we did meet with them, just preliminary to understand what may happen. They were interested in where they could tie in and volumes and things like that. So I kind of directed them to Walt. Really, you're kind of the guru on all of that stuff. And, depending on what, comes through, and this is not a short-term thing. I think this is something they're going to be working at for the next couple of years for what they're trying to do. They're looking at buying a bunch of land to expand that thing over there. And it's just a potential for the town to benefit at some point.
Okay. And that's my report.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Have a good,
Now be careful.
we'll see you in December, I guess.
I'll be here tomorrow.
Oh, well, yeah, we have that too, so. All right. The next item on the agenda, I guess, is a sewer department, a report with T or Pat. You want to give that up?
He's here.
Oh, I'm
There he
sorry,
is.
T. I didn't see you back there. I'm sorry. I guess these reading glasses keep me short distances,
Good evening. Since the last meeting, we installed a new manhole and ring on an empty lot next to 509 East Highway 90. We conducted a sewer smoke test on the 300 block of South Bowers on the west side, and made repairs at 306, 308, 310, 312, 314, and the empty lot next to 314, all on South Bowers Street. Repairs were also made at 304 and 306 Lambert Lane. We fixed the sewer line at 201 North Store Avenue. We restocked our sewer parts and picked up a backup pump housing unit. We checked on a sewer issue at 514 North Lightning that was on the customer side. The sewer pond project is starting, which Walt already said. Materials are starting to get unloaded, and work should begin before Thanksgiving. I'd like to congratulate the Lady Jacket volleyball team on making the playoffs, and also the football team on being the #1 seed for the first time in the history. And also congratulations to my son's 7 and 8-year-old Iowa Sharks League team that went to the Super Bowl Saturday. And also the ladies of the softball team, Kylie Boudreaux, Cameron Howard, and Cameron Broussard, all three signed softball scholarships last week. And happy Thanksgiving to everyone.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving.
The next item is a Public Works Report. Mr. Thibodeau. Hey, Pat, you want to kind of give us an update?
All right, guys. Like Walt mentioned, the pond work's gonna start in December. I met with the Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries again today. They sent a gentleman out here 2 weeks ago. We've got a couple of alligators we need to get out of the pond. And the guy came out, looked around, and said, no problem, we haven't heard back from him. So I went to meet with them face to face. They're gonna get back with me tomorrow. They're gonna turn it over to somebody else. I'm not sure how many gator hunters we have in the area, but we'll find out. We continue to dig ditches, clean and dig and shoot grades. We did East 3rd Street, Harper and Helen in the last few weeks. We are putting meters in again finally, in between water leak repairs. As the weather gets colder and goes back to warmer, the water leaks tend to step up a little bit. We talked about the drainage project on Store.
Are we still in line to be able to get all the meters in by December, end of December?
We're working our best. I don't know if we're gonna make it or not.
Okay, it'll be
I'm not gonna
shortly
promise you that,
thereafter
yeah.
though, it's some, in January, okay.
Yep. And Energy continue to change out lights and put in some new LED lights for us upon people's request. That's basically it.
Anybody got any questions for Pat or anything they need to bring to us attention for?
Hey, were you able to get with those residents that I'd sent you a message for the other day? Okay.
I've gotten several residents.
Okay.
All right. Next item up is Fire Department report and updates with Fire Chief Sonny.
Good evening. Good evening. So for the month of October, we ran a total of 46 calls. We had 26 medicals. We had 1 crash, 2 wrecks on I-10, 5 fire alarms, 4 structure fires, 2 vehicle fires, 2 grass fires, 3 canceled en route, and 1 tree fire. So last month got a little busy for us. Again, with the colder months, or colder days coming ahead, everybody's gonna start putting their heaters on, things of that nature. So we'll start running a lot more. Just, they'll call it in smelling smoke in the deal, and it's their heater because of the dust. So we're prepared for that. We have been doing a lot of training lately, doing water shuttle operations, getting ready for our rating this year. So it's been going on a lot at the VF Outlet on Wednesday nights. We try to make a post letting everybody know that, yes, we are using water, but we have to do this for our rating.
So all our meters that you're aware of are all functionals. We got them repaired and everything for you also.
The hydrant,
Yeah.
only hydrant right now that I know that is on Fairview. And me and Pat and Charles are working together. We're waiting, Mr. Charles is waiting on some information on that hydrant.
It's gonna have to be relocated.
Yes.
Okay.
So we're doing away with that hydrant, and it should be going directly across the street in the curve, right there, so.
And hopefully that'll be done so it doesn't impact us on PIA.
It's a possibility, but I don't think it will.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying if not, we need to
Yeah.
push it up or whatever so we don't,
Well,
when you get it in.
And we can
it'll-
only move as fast as everything else goes.
Yeah, but that's pretty slow sometimes and, with the state government,
Well,
that.
Yeah, I found out news today too, transportation stuff, that it's gonna be 3 to 4 weeks out before we get something, so. But it's part of life nowadays. Hurry up and wait.
Yeah.
Other than that, that's pretty much it with the fire department side. Again, we did hire 2 guys now for part-time. They are going around to the businesses doing pre-plans. So a couple days a week, we do have people on shift, for daytime coverage.
I think I met one during a couple of the veterans things, one of them I
Yes.
hadn't met before, I think.
Jevin.
Yeah.
He's the one that we just sent through the Sulphur Fire Academy, which was 12 weeks, and he just graduated with Fire 2, so,
Fantastic.
yes, sir.
Anybody have any questions or anything? We appreciate it.
Yes, sir, thank y'all.
Yes,
Have a
sir.
good holiday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item is a motion to approve the cooperative endeavor agreement between the town of Iowa and the Fire Protection District Number 1 of Ward 8. This is the $300,000 that we've received the money from the American Rescue Plan, and we're just basically agreed to help fund the fire department, the new engine. So that kind of is a transfer. We received it, and then we're paying it out to make sure we get a new fire truck here for the town of Iowa.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Next item, Keith, you want to come up and give us an update and everything on what all's going on?
Evening. I have a motion to approve Resolution 2022-25, transferring a surplus property to a political subdivision. It's one of our old units to Oberlin PD.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I think it's very admirable that we're, where we're lucky and, can keep things up, that we try to help out those less fortunate political subdivisions, you know, that can use these
Yeah.
things, because we don't normally get very much out of it anyway, so.
Can get rough sometime, yes. Okay, I have 44 total offenses, 324 traffic citations and summons, 4 accidents, 1 with injury, 8 arrests, and they handled 203 calls for service. And y'all have a good Thanksgiving. That's pretty much all I got, unless y'all got something.
No, you're kind of gotten your staff back up, and we've gotten a few people that left and come back, you know, I guess,
They coming
that
back.
found out, hey, we still a pretty good place to work at.
We got one graduating the Police Academy next week. Yeah, it's starting to come together. Appreciate y'all.
And of course, you know, Keith and I worked together, that one of the part-time officers, you know, we were needing people in the public works, and so he's allowed to be grandfathered in and work for Keith as time needs, but when he's not, then we working him full-time in public works, and I think it's working out, from what I've heard, very well, and that's the kind of things that we need to do as a town, you know, working our citizens and using our citizens to help improve the quality of life. You know, in this case, it's the police and public works, but at some points, we'd even like to do something like that with maybe the fire department and things like that, that would give us, you know, double coverage and coverage of 2 or 3 different specialities, you know, so that you're not having to look for someone. You actually have those built up in town and building on that, so.
Hopefully, we can slowly progress, keep making progress and transition into that. That'd be awesome.
And we're gonna try to take photos of the, here, not this next week, but the week after, on the motorcycle,
Yes.
and kind of give us an
Yes,
update
the
on how
mayor
that's
did get
working
grant-
on the.
Secure grant funds, and it's been working out good. People can call, he can go out there with a bike. It's more effective than a car.
And
Yes,
y'all
we'll-
probably
we
have
gotta
seen
do
him
that.
driving around, because I know sometimes on the nice days, he's out driving around
He
the
also
subdivisions
was
and
invited
things.
to participate in the McNeese Homecoming Parade with all the other motorcycles around. So, yeah, it's a good representation for highway. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, Keith.
All right. Next item, a motion to adopt ordinance number 2022-05, an ordinance establishing access management to maintain traffic control. And of course, you've got the verbiage in front of you, you know, in case there's anything you might have questions on or anything like that.
I only want to vote in favor of it if it's Miller, Thompson, and 90, rather than throughout the whole.
Yeah, but most of the other stuff, we don't normally have businesses that are off, that aren't on that, so.
I know that.
So is this something that you want to, I guess the question is, do we want to amend that to specify that? I'm okay, we can do it the next time, that's.
We can, if you
Yeah,
wish. It's not-
yeah, mostly it's Miller and Thompson, 90 is the,
Do we have an ordinance that designates businesses on those streets already?
Yes, sir.
And the language,
We'd have to pull it and find it.
we'd have to double check and look at to see if we actually needed to amend it, to put that language in it to accomplish what you're asking.
Yes, sir.
Because I'm not,
Because if you already
Well,
have an
I mean,
ordinance
it's
that
just saying
says,
that if business
Yeah.
can are only at those locations, then the effect of this new ordinance would do that anyway without amending it. It's in the back of my mind, but I have to read
Okay.
it and study
can,
it before I can tell you that for certain.
can we then just authorize the ordinance with the understanding that, you know, that if it needs to be, you know, what you're talking about, if it,
We can come back and amend it if you like. I don't know. I'm sorry, I just have to look at it
That's okay.
and really read every word before I think it accomplishes what I'm telling you. But that, I think it would.
So the most appropriate way would be, and I'm asking, would be to pass it now, and then we can look
Yes,
over the
it
course
would,
of the month.
it would probably be.
I mean,
We bring it up at the next meeting,
I'm fine
and
with that.
we
if you
can
don't mind.
review that to make, well, I can tell you whether or not it does or not.
yeah,
You
it's
gonna make that
acceptable.
motion?
Yeah, I'm motion. I move to, let me find the spot. I move to adopt ordinance 2022-05.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and we will get back with you then on the next meeting, and, you know, if we need
Did I say
to.
something wrong?
I'm confused. Did I answer your question correctly?
Well, I thought, what I understood you as saying is, my question was, should we pass it now and then come look at it?
I'm sorry, passing recommend to me to table.
Oh,
I'm so sorry. I don't want to mislead it.
That's all right. Wait.
I think it would accomplish what we want. If it passes, we'll look at it and we'll come back, and if they want, if the council wants to amend it, we can amend it. I mean, we can always do that.
I think it passed anyway.
Well, no, but what happens, we'll make the follow through on this next time and get back with you,
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
so.
But most of these things too would only, go for Miller,
Yes, ma'am.
90, and,
Right.
Thompson's.
yes, it would.
No, and I figured that, I just, you know, the one random time would be a huge issue.
Right.
Yeah, it's possible. We'll look at it and try and address it.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's not saying you have to do a lot, it's just you have to have it available if another business was to go in, you know, so basically you wouldn't put up, you know, some sort of railings and stuff on that at that point, so. Okay, the next item, my apologies on that. Motion, an ordinance 2022-06. An ordinance amending the fiscal year 2021-22 budget for the town of Iowa. Basically, this is just for sales tax, water improvement, the expenditures. And the reason for that was, of course, all the costs coming in from the hurricanes and everything. We tried to run that through one fund so that we didn't distort all the funds on operating costs and everything, and as such, that's why it was significantly over on the expenditures. It's also, that's where we run our a collection of insurances, so, you know, all of that is all lumped in and run through sales tax one, and that's created the issue with expenditures being higher than budgeted.
Okay, I'll make
I'll
that
make
motion. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll make
Brenda's.
the motion to adopt, ordinance number 2022-06.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the next item is motion to adopt ordinance number 2022-07, an ordinance amending the code of ordinances for the town of Iowa to include nuisance abatement. And of course, this is the one we talked about, that the issue we had with the massage shop, you know, and some of the activity that was going on that wasn't appropriate. This addresses that, as well as it tries to address some other issues that we realized that we did not have in our nuisance ordinances.
I make a motion we adopt ordinance 2022-07.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay. I think it's too many, 5 arrests, you know, I mean, good lord, let's do that 2 or 3.
Okay. The next item, introduction to ordinance number 2022-08, and an ordinance amending ordinance number 2017-05, section 5, ordinance number 2017-06, section 5, and ordinance number 2022-01, section 6, providing for a decrease of interest on delinquent sales tax payment. This was because the state has directed the rate to be charged, and the rates that we have traditionally charged are slightly higher, and this gets us all in line as the state has directed for sales tax. You know, this is where they're trying to get us all on the same thing so they can assume it, but, you know, for our perspective, it doesn't change anything, and we'll still oppose it on the state level if it ever brings it forward. However, we need to get our ordinances in line so that the parish can properly execute the sales tax on delinquent payments. Okay, that don't need to do anything, that's just an introduction. We received the motion to approve a renewal of existing servitudes. I've asked to move this till we get a little bit better clarification, but I want to make sure you're aware of it. The Entergy is wanting us to approve a renewal of the service accesses for the lines, but they're also asking for servitude in our community location for some other purposes, and that's not appropriate. I don't want Energy laying things down around our a community center and thing, and us giving them a permanent servitude above and beyond the servitude of the power lines. I don't have a problem with the power lines. I do have a problem with them asking for the servitude of some of our land related to the community center. And Mr. Bouquet, I know you kind of looked at it.
I have looked at it, and I'm a little bit uncomfortable with it. I'm not certain that I have a strong objection to it, but I thought we need a little bit more clarification.
Yeah, and I'd like to ask them to break out the servitude of just the existing lines and what they're offering us for it. And then this other be a separate agreement for our consideration. Because like I say, if you look at what they're asking for the additional 30 foot of servitude and for what purposes it is, it's right there on our land at the community center. And I don't feel comfortable with them doing that. They can find some other place to do that for what they're talking about doing. And you can read it, it's all in there. So I'm going to ask that we defer this so that Pat can get them to break out the existing servitudes as a separate agreement, and then bring us back further clarification of why and what they're really truly wanting to use this for. If that's acceptable.
Sure.
Yeah, do we need to, we don't have to make a motion or anything on that, nope. Okay. Okay, the next item is motion to approve payment number 3 to Empire Dirt Works for the construction of Serenity Park. And let me see, what was that for? I think
$24,986.20.
Yeah, 20, oh, see, is this the one?
Oh, it's,
23,000?
it says current payment due, and then you have balance of contract, so it doesn't.
Do you know what?
Payment number 3.
It's almost finished. The balance would be the retainage, but it's just maybe a few thousand more than what the retainage is that's left after this payment. From looking at the contract and the amount, because there's a 10% retainage.
Yes, so the current payment due is $67,251.90. That's
Yes.
what we're asking for on this one.
Yes.
We won't pay the retainage until after everything is signed off and everything is done.
Okay. All right, I'll make that motion to pay Empire $67,251.90.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. And I don't know if y'all seen it a lot. It's looking, coming out pretty good. They've got the lights in and they've got the fountain in, and we're working on we're going to work with the ag teacher at Iowa High School to maybe some of their students come kind of help us on the plantings and things like that as one of their, I think they've got to do some sort of community service. We'll work with them on that also. And of course the question is, I guess we didn't think about it. Are you okay with us putting Christmas decorations up in that? We're going to do that here in the park like we all, I think that would be, it doesn't have to be anything big, but something nice to just kind of bring in the season along with it as we're working on it. So if you'll get with Elsie on that to come up with a budget, for a small. Okay. The next item is a proclamation for Deacon Brother Melvin Rojo on November 6th. and I issued this to them, I just want to read it to put it in the records. Whereas on November 6, 2022, Deacon Brother Melvin Rojo is celebrating 80 years of service at Zion Travelers Missionary Baptist Church and his 89th birthday. And whereas Deacon Brother Melvin Rojo was born and reared in the town of Iowa, Louisiana, and together with his late wife of 63 years, Dorothy Miller Rojo, raised their 8 children in the town. And whereas because of many important contributions that Deacon Brother Melvin Rojo has made at Zion's Travelers Baptist Church and to the town of Iowa, Louisiana, we set aside this day in recognition of this most auspicious milestone, marking decades of spiritual service and lifelong commitment to faith, good works, and service to our communities. We wish him continued prosperity and success in the future, and express our appreciation for his valued contributions to the town of Iowa. Now, therefore, by the powers vested in me, I, Paul Hess, Mayor of Town of Iowa and the sovereign state of Louisiana, do hereby proclaim November 6, 2022 as Deacon Brother Melvin Roger Day. Really, it's remarkable to live that long and to have such a good life of service to, to the town and to, the church and everything. Some of us aspire to something like that, but, it won't be, I don't know if I've got any kind of where as good-hearted and good works to be able to, good Lord, to judge me. I hope so one day, so. The next item, I guess, is a report of finance, and we're getting late. I just want to, a couple of things. You can look at the financials there and look at them. I want to make you aware that we are running into a little bit of a tightness on the waterworks and sewer, and part of that is because we still have not implemented the things we are. The garbage is, we're spending quite a bit more for, the, how do you want to say, not the regular garbage service, but the 2 or 3 times a month that we go through picking up. And we're going to look at things that we can do. One of the things that I am going to recommend is that we put in our ordinance that apartments and those type of businesses and putting out of stuff in front of vacant lots, that we're going to ensure ourselves that we're not going to pick up stuff of people that are not paying a garbage fee. And the reason I'm saying this is come across that in a lot of places that, the rentals, the apartment rentals, when people move out, they just pile stuff up. And we're trying to keep it clean, but that's not appropriate if they're not paying a garbage fee at that point. And we're going to come up with either an exception that, commercial businesses can't do this, or they have to pay a special fee, or if it's in front of a vacant lot, that they can't put stuff in there for us to pick up at our cost.
So wouldn't, if it was in front of an apartment complex, wouldn't the owner of that property be responsible for that?
That's what, but we don't have anything in the ordinance to say that.
Okay.
And so you don't know which one put it out there. Maybe the apartment they moved out and they've closed out their account. And so we're not collecting a fee for that. And in some cases, we weren't never collecting a fee for it, and that's what brought it up in a certain subdivision, that it was piled up there. It was a house rental, and we weren't collecting anything. And so what we're going to ensure ourselves is that if it is a commercial business, that we will not pick up, anything like we're doing for our residential people. And I just want to make sure that and if we do, we will have to charge appropriately our cost, our full cost, not, some subsidized. Because this is kind of getting out of hand.
Okay, but so on an empty lot, people are putting stuff there. You said it's not going to be picked up, so how is it going to be removed?
That's
and not be
that will be an ordinance enforcement of, that we'll get with them to say, hey, you are responsible to remove it. And if you don't, if we remove it, we will penalize the property
owner.
Yeah. And I'm just saying, we're seeing a lot of this. It's like, why would you have mattresses? Why would you have garbage out there in front of an empty lot? We want to beautify our town, but we don't want to sit there and have to pay for it, because it, like I say, that cost is becoming very significant, and we need to at least, you know, cut back on those type of abuses, you know, and somehow either we obtain reimbursement, and then, you know, part of that's just going to be, and talking with Mr. Bouquet, is it may be something that commercial, you know, commercial properties, however you want to define commercial properties, that, you know, they can't do it irregardless of whether they're, you know, they have normal trash pickup or not. That they'll have to spend their money to,
We could look at it. What we probably want to do is look at what maybe some of the other municipalities are doing, how they're addressing this problem. But yes.
yeah, they're not doing it our way. That's why we tried to work at to keep it low. They're paying $10 to $15 more a month just for traditional garbage service. And then sometimes they get some of that picked up and sometimes they don't. And of course, we were lucky enough to work with Waste Management where they were just happy to pick up the cans. They didn't want to do anything else, and this was our way of approaching it. And we're going to talk about, I think after, you know, when we've worked it a year, I think we need to bid it out or look at alternatives as to.
We did bid it out this time around, if you remember correctly.
Yes.
Came up with the lowest cost. And our thoughts were, you know, 2 or 3 times a month he would come through. It's not working that way.
He's having to come through 5 and 6.
Look at the road. I get calls all the time. The town's looking like, we gotta pick things up, when are we gonna pick it up? It's $600 a load, every time Troy comes
Yes.
out with that trailer, that's $600, guys.
Yep. And I'm just saying, we want to keep our town clean.
I was thinking about drafting the ordinance. I'm sorry. Whatever the council wishes to do, we will do that. But my thoughts were I need to look at, see what some of the ordinances and how they address it and how we enforce it. Not talking about how you do it.
Okay.
I'm just thinking about how do we enforce this against empty lots, for example.
Well, that's an easy one. That's an easy one. Empty lots, we don't even have to bring in. We just do it as a violation of, you know, littering law or whatever you want to do it on the side. And
Yes, but we'll just look at it carefully. I see some issues with that, but we'll definitely address it
Yeah.
in the right fashion.
And so I just want to make y'all aware of it, you know, and then some of it is all these inflated prices for chemicals and things. You know, we really hadn't gone up on our sewer and water, and we really didn't want to do it until we got the meters in and then looked at it on a holistic approach. But we are kind of chewing through some of our cash reserves on that fund specifically, which is, you know, it's easy, you know, there's some things we can do, but I don't want to get down back to where we were years ago. I want to go ahead and address them as we're looking at them, and these are a couple of things that I'm looking at to be able to address them responsibly and keep people's prices low and
Cut our costs.
yeah, yeah. So, just as awareness issue. The other thing I want to bring up, I guess, that at this point is we're looking at, you know, some of these issues that we have, and today's a perfect example, is some of our architects can't make it. You know, this is the same time some other government entities also have their meeting. I want to propose for y'all to think about that starting in the new year, that we go maybe to twice a month meetings on the 2nd and 4th Monday of every month. And, you know, then maybe they won't be so long. But in addition, if we're addressing ordinance issues, we can get them passed, you know, like this last time when we talked about the massage parlor and stuff like that. You know, there was a pressure that we needed to get this fixed, but our process doesn't allow it by meeting once a month. And if we can meet twice a month, you know, we can cover certain things on one meeting and certain things on the next meeting on the second and the fourth Mondays of the month, with the exception of the holiday months. We would only meet once, which would be November and December. I want to give y'all some at least thought about it. You know, this is some of the things that we really need to do to improve the efficiency of the council and be able to help address some things. In addition, you know, things like can make one, but he might not make the other. You know, that works out good, that we would still get a feedback from those relevant engineers and architects, because, you know, where he may not be able to meet on the second Monday, you know, they could maybe meet on the fourth Monday, because a lot of times there's not a lot of organizations that have a Monday meeting. So I want you to think about that, as something that I'm gonna, you know, propose for the next year, you know, assuming everything works out. The other thing, I guess, as far as open items for mayor and the council, I just want to make you aware, tomorrow at 10:30, I'm going to meet with the DOTD. They're doing a groundbreaking over here at the, you know, the overpass that they're repairing. They're doing a
165?
groundbreaking at 10, I think at 10:30. So they've asked if I'd represent the town of Iowa there, and I'll be
The
there.
165?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
they're meeting at the, you know, that open field parking they got right there on this side of it. So, I think I'm not sure if it's 10 or 10:30, I'm gonna be there at 10, but it's about an hour and a half groundbreaking. Other than that, open for any comments or anything?
No, I have nothing.
Yeah, I have something. Pat called me this morning. We went over to, he'd got a call from, I believe that's the Drody's on the corner of Barkley and Helen. And asking, Pat, that's a three-way stop, north and south is two-way each way, and then going east from Second, there's a stop sign there. You know, we went and looked at it. I mean, my first reaction, and I think Pat agreed that, you know, we can't just do that because one person wants that, I don't think. I said, what, you know, what if people across the street, or, you know, if they're in favor of it. Matter of fact, it seems like that was the Drody's that wanted us to put that three-way stop there to keep the traffic. So, yeah.
They have to slow down and stop.
Right, right. So I don't know, I guess at one point we'll have to tell her, you know, give her some direction on that.
She don't want it?
No, she wants it. She wants to remove those stop signs.
She wants it straight through with those stop signs, don't stop sign on Second.
Okay.
Turn the three-way into just,
Yeah. But like Joe said, she wanted to request it in the first place, so.
To
Yeah.
put it up, now she doesn't want it.
yeah,
what
well, I
you're saying?
guess, and I'm not sure, but it seems like that was the Drody's that wanted that because of the cars speeding by.
There were citizens wanted it, I don't remember the name,
Yeah,
but yes. It's kinda like by Julie, they wanted no parking, then they pulled the no parking.
yeah,
Rabbit festivals.
yeah,
Remember that?
yeah.
Right.
But
Well,
I know on the one-way street we did over on Kenny, I mean, I know there was a petition that was signed by every resident along there. That's one thing, but for a single resident to want to remove that, I don't think that's something that we could do.
I think it's more of a safety issue to keep the stop signs up. It reduces the speed and safety for especially the children in there that are riding their bikes, because that is a residential, heavy populated with children.
Yeah, yeah. Anything else, Pat, I forgot, or that's about
No,
it?
that was about it.
Yeah.
But I agree, it's only one complainant, need to get more feedback.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and of course, the other thing is, you know, is there an underlying symptom of something that's going on that we're not aware of, you know? I mean, that would have to be the, you know, maybe we can address that issue as opposed to the sign issue if there's, you know.
Unless people are running the stop sign and it's not doing any good, but then what good's it removing?
You have anything
I don't
else?
have anything now.
Gerald?
Yeah.
Does anybody in the audience like to come up and add anything or bring anything forward to the council for our consideration or anything like that? Yes, sir. If you will, please come up and give your name and let us know what you like.
Just want to invite the council, Eric B. Johnson Sr., on the CCOA behalf. Of course, you all always come out to our dinners, Thanksgiving, Christmas. We do have a Thanksgiving dinner on this coming Monday on the 21st, November 21st at 10:30 a.m. So if you all get a chance, come and have Thanksgiving with us. We're always glad to see you all. And we will have one, we already scheduled one for December. Oh, and it's gonna be at the community center.
Oh, okay.
Instead of West First.
At what
East
time?
First.
Eric?
10:30.
Starts
10:30 a.m.
Monday.
Okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
And that brings up the last thing, the community Thanksgiving service this year is at the Iowa Pentecostal Church, Sister Sonia, November 20th at 2 p.m. That's where all the denominations, all the churches, we all go to give Thanksgiving thanks for the town of Iowa. And it's, everybody's always invited and all denominations are there and everybody gets to give up and have their say and, talk about what's great for the town of Iowa.
It's Sunday,
Sunday, November 20th at 2 p.m.
2 p.m.
Okay, then, if there's not anything else that anybody wants to bring up, I entertain a motion to adjourn. Second?